So today we're going to learn about orthographic drawings and orthographic projection. Now we're going to be working through this sheet of shapes. They get progressively harder, so the first row is the easy row, but then it gets harder along the row. The same with the second, that's classed as medium, and the last one's hard and it gets harder as they go. First thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be working with this first shape here. It's like a step or an L shape. You should have already read the orthographic projection PowerPoint that was put up on the Teams page, so you will understand the basics of orthographic projection. Orthographic projection is looking at the different faces of a 3D object. So the faces are your elevation, your end elevation and your plan. With this L, we are going to point out which ones are which. Okay, so with this shape, we're going to say red is the elevation, blue is the end elevation, and orange is the plan. Your elevation would be the face that you see at the front, so it's going to be this face here. It's the one that's facing you, it's nice and flat, that's the one that we're going to do as our elevation. So I'm going to mark that as red. End elevation is the side of the shape. If that there is the front, this side would be the back, and these two are going to be the sides. Now, based on what we can see, we cannot see this side, so we're just going to worry about this one. All the surfaces that are flat, that are facing that way, we're going to turn blue. So this one at the bottom, we're going to turn it blue. Now, we're going to miss this one because it changes direction. If something changes direction, a lot of the time it means that it's looking at the other side. So we're looking at what's flat vertically, not horizontally. So this one would be blue and this one would be blue. So the plan is what you can see from the top. It's your bird's eye view. It's like what you'd see when you make a plan of a house. It's everything you can see from the top. So the top, we're looking down this way. It will be your two remaining shapes. This we are going to turn into our orthographic projection. Okay, so with orthographic projection, the most important thing is worrying about your proportions, which means getting things looking how they should. So if you were to look at this shape again, it's the same distance high as it is across. So you're wanting to make sure that you're roughly making the bottom the same length as it is on the side. Okay, now if you look here, each part of the L is the same size, so that's a cube and that's a cube. It's exactly half of the distance along the bottom, the same way going upwards, it's exactly half of the distance going upwards. So we need to work on making sure this looks like an L with the correct distances. Everyone's automatic response is, well, I'll just measure it. We're going to take away the element of measurement. You're not allowed to use a ruler, because we're wanting to work on our proportions with sketching, and when you're sketching, we're not doing anything with a ruler. Now, what we can do, however, is we can use a straight edge which doesn't have sizes on it. I'm going to use one of these. This is a set square. This here's a 36 set square, not that it matters. However, it does have a straight edge. I am only going to be using this for a straight edge and a straight edge only. When I sketch this, the first thing I want to do is I want to make sure that I've got enough space on my desk to move my paper around. I've got enough space to sit comfortably, because remember, it's easier to move the paper than it is to move yourself. This set of paper is substantially lighter than what I am, so instead of making myself uncomfortable and moving myself, I'm just going to move my paper. The first thing that I am going to do is I'm going to sketch this L shape, because that there is the shape that would be the hardest to make out of them all, because the rest of them are just squares and rectangles. My L shape is my elevation, and my elevation goes in the bottom left hand corner. All I'm going to do is I'm going to take a line straight up. Now I'm going to do it with a coloured pencil so that you can see it. It's my line, went straight across the page. I'm also going to do the same thing but going right across the bottom, and you'll see why later. Okay, so I've got my line going right across and right up. Now, what I need to do is I need to worry about getting my L shape in. Now, if I pick a size, say I want to make it relatively small. So the reason I'm going to keep it quite small is so that I can make sure I can get my other views in without them feeling like they're really crushed in together on the page. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a point and go, right, that's how long the bottom of my L shape's going to be. And then I'm going to take my straight edge and I'm going to take that line right up the page. Okay? Now I'm going to look at this size and I'm going to think, right, like I said before, the length and the height are roughly the same. So I'm just going to twist my page. I'm going to take that height and I'm going to go, okay, that is roughly the same height up as it is across. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to take a line going right across this way, right across my page. Now we've got the height set for our L and the length set for our L. Now all we need to do is we need to put our L shape in. Now we had said before, it's exactly halfway across both of these. So what you're going to do is you're going to go on and you're going to eyeball what you think is halfway. I think that's pretty much halfway. And I think that's halfway. So all I'm going to do with these points is I'm going to take them, project it down and up, and this one right across the full page. So down and up. And this one here. Gonna go left and right. So now it looks like I've got a little present. What I'm gonna do is I'm then gonna darken in my L shape. I'm gonna worry about each shape at each view at one time. My elevation is done. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the same colour as I've marked it. So I'm going to take my red colour. There. That's my elevation done. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move on to my end elevation, which is my view from the side. Now the reason we've taken all these lines across is it's made our life so much easier now. This line at the bottom represents the bottom of our L. This line in the middle represents where our L shape changes direction, and the one at the top represents the height. If you were to look here, our end elevation is the blue surface. The shape of the blue surface is two squares. That's it. We won't see our orange, we won't see our red, it'll be two squares. So what we need to do is we need to set a distance further away from our elevation, and I'm just going to go draw a line straight up the page like that. And then what you're going to do is you're going to set the distance. Remember, it's got to be a square, so it's roughly the same size between our middle line and our line at the top. Roughly that size. I think that looks roughly the same. Now I'm going to take my line right down and right up. Now when I darken that in, you're going to darken the rectangle on the outside. And you're going to darken the middle line. As you can see with our end elevation, it should be two squares. And I'm going to do that blue just so I don't get confused. Now all that's left, we've done our red surface, we've done our blue surface, is our orange surface, and that there sits above our elevation. The reason it sits above it is because it's a bird's eye view. It's what you see from the top. Now what we're going to do is we need to set the distance. So we need to set, we need to put this line here in place, the bottom of our orange squares. So I'm going to go above my elevation and I'm going to put a line in and I'm going to bring it right across. I could guess my thickness again, however, the chance of it being the same thickness as our end elevation is pretty slim. So what you want to do is where your 2 points meet, the line from your end elevation and the line from your plan, so I'm going to make a dot. Those are where those 2 points meet. You're going to put in a line roughly at 45 degrees. Now bear in mind this is a 30-60 set square, so I'm not going to get it. You're never going to get it bang on 45, but a line roughly at 45 degrees. And where these lines hit that we have put, where the lines hit that we projected up from our end elevation, those 2 points, we're going to flip them like that. So if you were to imagine a mirror sitting on that line, those lines in the reflection would turn that way. And that's what we're going to replicate. So from that point, I'm going to take a line right across. Now, didn't have to do any guessing there. There is my shape. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to darken it in. I'm going to take my orange pencil and I'm going to mark in where my 2 orange boxes would have been. Now the last step in this is to label each view. So the red one is your elevation. My blue one is my end elevation. And my orange one is my plan. I'm also going to mark in my bounce line so that you can see what it is. Okay? Now, as you can see, there is a clear difference between my construction lines, which is my blue ones, and my outlines, which are my dark outlines. If you are heavy-handed with your pencil, I would recommend always doing your construction lines in a blue pencil or a red pencil, something that is lighter than a normal writing pencil, and then darkening them in with a writing pencil. That there is the first drawing. For the assignment, you're going to be tasked with doing the first 3 on this green roll. Now, I'm going to quickly speed through me doing those 3 right now. that's me done the first 3 on the green line. What I would recommend is, if you're feeling pretty confident, or if you're wanting to make sure that you are prepared very well for the yellowy orange line in the middle for next week, then I would recommend going on and doing the 4th and 5th one on the green line. This will be available on Teams. The video will be here to help you. The PowerPoint is there to help you. If you're needing any help, you can contact me whenever. But that's all. I hope you find this helpful, and I'll see you next time.